හොඳයි. පින්වත්නි හැමදෙනාම සාධනාවය පවත්වමු. සාදු සාදු සාදු. Most venerable members of the Mahasangha, kind devotees, today we are so fortunate to have most venerable Bambalapiti Jnanaloka Mahathera. So most of the devotees who are here today know Bhante very well, because most of you are listening to Dharma online, sometimes. I remember before Bhante used to come to our temple when we were in Pasadena a couple of years ago. And it is my duty and responsibility to welcome respectfully most venerable Jnanaloka Thera, because I still remember the day he got ordained at our monastery in Sri Lanka, Colombo, the Bhikkhu Training Center. And also I remember the day he got his higher ordination. And also Bhante visited a couple of times when we were in Kandy branch, Vajirarama Kandy branch. At that time Bhante was practicing his path, Dharma, at different locations in Sri Lanka. And then Bhante moved to India, and he has been practicing many years in Himalaya and at other places, locations. So I don't want to give a long, lengthy introduction on Bhante, because we all know his knowledge, his understanding, his wisdom, and his practice, and his power. So with that few words, with the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, may our Bhante be well, happy, and peaceful. May he able to carry the Dhamma message for many years, and may Bhante be able to attain the bliss of Nibbana with the power of the and merits that we are accrued throughout this Dhamma talk and his Dhamma service to the world. With that blessing thoughts and words, let's welcome most venerable Bhante Bambalapiti Jnanaloka Mahathera respectfully. To welcome venerable, let us say Sadhu again together with the Mahasangha. Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.
Thiruvan Sarnai, blessings of the Triple Gem to all of you. And first, to our great master, the Samma Sambuddha, the Dhamma, his teaching, and the Sangha, the Arya Mahasangha. And my teachers actually, who guided me, especially Madhya Mahanayaka Thero Mahanayi. He was very instrumental in me getting all these things. So I've been very grateful to him. At a crucial point of my life where he just simply, not knowing who I was, what I was, but had a feeling and supported me. And many years back, when I was just a young yogi. And of course, my very senior brother monks. It's a very special occasion for me, especially because this Venerable Sir is the one, Dhammapiti, is the one who cut my hair. That's a very special moment. I always tell that early morning, around 4:30, Brahma Muhurta time, and I never forget the feeling I had at that time. It was like you have been taken to gallows. Yes, it's not just imagination. So this ordination process, the whole sasana has that effect, killing you before death comes, so that nothing dies. So it was very interesting for me that time, and I'm always so grateful to all who supported me on that path. And my Vandana to Bantes, all other venerable senior monks, even if they are not here, and the Dhamma friends here who wants to go on this path or who like to really do something in life, or at least to know the secret of life, knowing that Buddha's teaching may give that knowledge. Initially, I didn't think Buddha's teaching gave that knowledge, because the type of Buddhism I saw with my parents and even in temples and all other places, it was like, it was more like, prayers and vows and, kind of culture. So we have heard like Four Noble Truths and so on, but there's no big thing about it, not too much logic in it, not too much rationale in it, just some explanation the cause of suffering like this. So I was not very, as a young boy, I was not felt very interested in that. But like physics and science was very interesting for me as a young boy. So, but there was this thirst to know what's going on in life. So I didn't know I had to speak in English today actually, because I prepared myself to come and speak in Sinhalese, because mostly my previous visits I have told that please try to don't make like the Islam, the Muslims. The compassion is for Muslims only. So it's like Buddhism or Buddhists also. It's only for the people who already have Buddhist teaching. So only thing we have not gone out enough or made it more practical. That's the main reason. So if that happens, I'm sure it's like some kind of food. If it's very tasty, people will just be drawn to that. So in this particular teaching, the taste is peace. So I see that the science to peace, the technology to peace, this was well developed in the Eastern world, much before the Industrial Revolution and so on. I had to practice my English again, okay? Because after long time anyway, it will be good for me. I hope you'll get some points in this talk. Give me 2 hours. Just give me 2 hours, okay? So that I can cover some of the things. If you're really interested, if you're really interested to know, to do something in your life and really want to practice, actually my teaching is not very, whatever I'm going to share is not very sophisticated, complicated. It's very clear. It's some things I have experienced personally myself, and which I want to share. And the reason I want to share, because many years ago, I was invited to America as a young monk. Then I told, when I'm an Arahant, I will come. I meant it actually, because I thought, why should I come? What can I teach when I also have mistakes? And so I continued. I had some compassion. I must really help the people in some way, but then I must be first well established. So what happened? I went on practicing. And then I faced a near-death experience in Kailash, 2015, with altitude sickness. If you are aware of the, high altitude, you have this, you get altitude sickness normally, and sometimes we overcome it. So otherwise, there's no medicine. You have to just descend to a low altitude. So in this situation, I knew I'm going to not make it. And that time only, it came to my mind, oh, I couldn't give enough to the people. Let me try next life, what to do. So this is how then I managed to overcome that period. Anyway, it's a long story how I survived. But anyway, that's the one. Then I thought I should have given something. Not necessarily I had to know everything. So like you're going through a PhD, you already know the knowledge of Bachelor of Science and the Masters also. So you can give that. So that's what made me actually to come and give the Dharma in 2015, 16, 17. I came to the public at that time. And then now this occasion, after some years, but this is also a very special occasion. Especially I had to get that calling to do like this. So the corona came and then other things came. So I just continued my own practice. And some special things happened to me last 2 years back. Something that prompted me to again come like this. So that was, do you understand my English? I don't know. It doesn't sound American, right? Does Australia is another accent, right? And then American is another accent. Okay.
You understand it very well, sir.
I know you will understand anything what I say, even gibberish, right? Believe me so much. Anyway, but I hope you'll take this knowledge. I'll come to the point very immediately, I don't want to, there's not enough too much time. The main questions in our life is, like what we are made up of. Like we have a body normally and we have consciousness. Okay. So before I explain that, I will try to tell you a little bit of a background. Why the Buddha's teaching is so relevant and how we can find answers. Okay. Because the main question in the world is also about consciousness. It's like a mystery in the modern time, what consciousness is. So, according to Buddha and the Eastern philosophies, the world is defined in terms of consciousness. Okay? So, there's someone who, in the Vedic sciences, in the Vedas or in the ancient Hindu philosophy, predating Buddha's time, and Buddha gives it a new definition and explains it in a very perfect way. So they already knew about consciousness. That is something separate from the body. All right? And also is connected karmically with the law of karma. Now Buddhist teaching is not some kind of where you just want to get peacefulness of life or something. It has a bigger picture. Knowing a bigger thing about our existence, about other dimensions, how we come to that. So if it's just for some relaxation, it's not so simple like that, just for relaxation or just to get peace of mind. No, it's also about the mystery of death and it's about the afterlife. And it's also not to believe about afterlife blindly. These are very important topics. I mean, we don't have time normally because we are so busy to research on these things. And the way of researching this is not through, there is a kind of a faculty you have to enhance, especially your mind. That is where meditation comes, where you use your mind as an instrument to actually experience this world. It's very much connected with our wisdom eye, not the frontal cortex. Wisdom eye is another part, but there is a divine eye, which was already known in India many years back. From that only they knew there's something called karma. There's something called rebirth. There's a law like that. We are accountable, and exactly according to that, we have to go through. We get another birth to reap those what we have done. So there's another person in your country, in this part of the world. I don't know anyone who has. I normally tell people to refer to him. Edgar Cayce. Have you read Many Mansions by Edgar Cayce? How many of you have read Edgar Cayce Many Mansions? How many of you are not? Quite a lot. Or both? You have done both, some of you? Read and not read, no problem. Okay, this is very important. If you really want to search, I mean, not to be narrow-minded, just to make sure that you study all the aspects which will explain life. So Edgar Cayce, it was very interesting. He goes into an unconscious state, and then he's to sometimes people who have problems which are not solvable by any other means, he used to find solutions. And sometimes even poison was administered to certain diseases and all that. But he used to relate to previous lives. Sometimes during the Crusaders, what we had done, how now it's very interesting. I would suggest you to go through that, because then it makes sense all what this meditation is, why we have to purify our mind, why we should not get angry, why we should not get greedy, and so on. Okay, in simple terms. I'm going to explain those parts, how it's going to function, and I'm going to touch a deep point. Actually, I have one very specific message. Whether it will digest to you or not, I don't know. Okay, even in Sri Lanka or anywhere, this time I'm not going just try to give some knowledge. I'm trying to give you the highest kind of realization and what you should be doing towards that. We call about enlightenment and all that, and how to stop rebirth and the mechanism I'm going to explain. Hopefully I can, cover it up. Okay. So this is very important. I hope you'll have time to read Edgar Cayce Many Mansions to get a background knowledge just for your thing one day. Because I know even recently one monk came from Italy. Not a monk, I made him a monk, but I didn't know most of his background, and he told me he's doubtful about next life and about karma. It's fair. I would say even I would doubt what you don't see, what you don't have any other way to refer to. Of course you should doubt. We can't just believe anything. But I told him to get these books and find out whether what they are saying is true or not, and then whether it gives a better world picture. Just don't just be there, you try to search whatever knowledge is available and go through that. So anyway, I'm sure he will come across those things. So it explains also why some are poor, one is rich and one is ugly. All that it gives a lot of explanations, not blaming a God. God does exist also. According to Buddha's teaching, there are many gods actually, and how the God idea come also Buddha explains. That's another part in different sutras where he explains the cause of in different spheres how great beings appear, and how one time there's suspension of these beings, and when they they are not aware when they first arise, how they get a thought that and someone had a wish initially, and then how those beings start to appear, and then they get the idea that they created it. So these things also explain. But I don't like it's no meaning just to get knowledge here and there. And it's nice to change your life, to make your mind more sharper, and so that, one thing you will experience peacefulness in this life, and other things you will see the truth about life as a personal experience, rather than told by somebody else. So anyway, I will have to give you this background, this thing. I was not well actually. I was recovering from a viral for 4 months. So this is my 4th program. Sri Lanka, I did the 3 programs, and then here. And we were on top of one mountain now. So we thought we should come down just to, I think I feel better. So I am this thing about, giving this thing to you all, because I need some strength physically and this thing to share some things to you all. So one very important thing is, I want to share in this consciousness. I don't know whether you heard about Deepak Chopra. He explains a lot about consciousness, which is coming from the Vedic Upanishadic knowledge. This is also very good, because in this modern part of the world, consciousness is a mystery. It is still something because the neuroscientists, they're trying to find that is something in the brain that is happening. It's a chemical function or chemical activity, but it's something separate from the body entirely. So as long as you have that main research in the wrong direction, this can never be found. So, but it was well known, body comes as just an instrument for consciousness to arise. Okay, I will explain that in a very careful way. So, but before that, I want to tell what happened to me 2 years back to come again and give these teachings. I have been touching these things in the previous programs of a little bit, but now it is coming in a very full force because I'm explaining some of the main parts connected with the Buddha's wisdom part. All right. So in the before, I just told the background things that you should get, because I would like to explain to you all a way of life that you should be doing, and to recognize a way that which harms your intuition and what enhances your intuition, so that you will follow that way, so that these things become something personally experienced. Otherwise, they will not be personally experienced. It will be always an intellectual inquiry. So this is what my own life is, to experience these truths. That's why we lived in the jungle and solitude, because solitude brought that with proper knowledge and guidance. It brings you that awakening more. There are a lot of possibility. So this started first when I was in Southern Africa as a young boy, where when I was walking in solitude, but that time I was interested in theory of relativity, and especially connected with that I had some ideas. It will be long for me to explain that. Maybe we see in the questioning time I might explain. It gave me also a way to know that there are other dimensions, that that other worlds do exist, because the dilation of time, that's something in the old text you see, that 1,000 years on earth is one day, like in one of the heavens, and such weeks, such months, like that. So you have the other higher going on in that particular order. So that looks fairy tale, just if you have it on the side, only read that alone. But when you know theory of relativity, close to the speed of light, the time does slow down. And that doesn't mean that when Einstein found, then only this principle started working. It has been always there. He only found it. So that helped me to pass my exams, actually, because I had belief in other higher worlds, and then sort of predicted those days. I didn't study. I was only thinking about these things. So then I used to tell this old story: English language, English literature, headings. Actually, I predicted the titles that might come. So that gave me a kind of a beginning in this research. But still, the ordination or nothing like that, the Buddha's teaching didn't become very clear to me, until based on this, I had another experience where, that was when I was going for walks. At that time I was applying for Princeton, in fact, and MIT to do astrophysics, thinking that that astrophysics will give me more answers. But that's the time where I had this thoroughly, everything just changing and dissolving. It was in a single thought, and there it was very clear. There was a monk also in my mind's eye, and it came to my mind that even all buildings, everything would not last. It would just disappear. And in this, it came to me like, if anything begins in time, it definitely ends. For this vision, this understanding, there's no beginning, therefore there's no end. This is it. It was very clear, and then I didn't decide to go anywhere, do anything. That's how this journey started. So solitude, I knew it triggers certain insights. That's a very helpful thing. So it took me later on to stay in jungle with the text, with my teacher's guidance, and so on, and had more insight. But last 2 years back, there was this special experience, I must tell you, because as a young monk, I faced a very hard life. Not by force. I want to live that way, an ascetic life. As my teacher also was a wanderer. He had no place as such, so he was on foot for 29 years. He never got into a vehicle, and in Sri Lanka, going daily arms round. So we also met him when he was going arms round. So arms round, right? From house to house, because we don't touch money. And so that time, so when I ordained also, I started on this kind of life. And then I had to live a very rough life. So then I had to incline towards Samadhi. I don't know whether you know about Samadhi, like concentration meditation more. That means more like you develop more mental energy by having more focus on a singular thing. It could be a compassion meditation. It could be, even watching the breath or something, but it increases your ability to concentrate. Not analyzing, not sort of reasoning out or contemplating is something separate. These are two different meditations. So that time I used to do that before, very deeply with the teachings of the Buddha. But when I became a monk, when I had to go very hard way, then it went more towards that concentration meditation. Okay. And in that, I was not feeling the heat or cold or, any hardship of the physical body. So I got more addicted to that. So what happens when you get more addicted towards that calmness and peacefulness more? Your thinking gets diminished. Your reasoning and contemplation becomes this thing. But normally there are people who think too much, they are restless. So there has to be that balance. So this happened many years because I had to live so many years like that. So when I'm faced with some very difficult situation, physically in the jungle, like I had this experience with, poisonous leaves in the deep jungle, where I was looked after by robbers. If they didn't find me, and there's another gentleman, like a group of gentlemen, they also found me. Actually, that one of the main gentlemen, I met him now about 1 week back, one of programs. He got to know now I'm in public giving this support. So because of him also, they were on an expedition actually. They were writing a book about this area of the jungle. So they met me inside. So they gave me food and also gave me some direction through their maps. And they also called me back to come with them, but I was very young at that time and very, very spirited. So I left and I had a very tough time. And that's the time I met these robbers, and they are the ones who looked after me. Actually, meeting a human being in deep jungle is like a blessing because they gave me food, and there with the pain, physical pain, I noticed you can't develop that concentration meditation. Okay. So there are, like we have already trained, we have to look at the feeling, observe it, not trying to escape from the feeling, just to face the feeling and to watch it. And then when you're watching it, you see more truths about it. And there itself, you begin to lose the feeling of it. When you face the feeling, you begin to lose the feeling. So that's another thing that we have to train. So that I experienced, and I saw the power of contemplation rather than just calmness. That was one occasion. But these things happen when I had a difficult situation because it worked rather than trying to come to Samadhi or concentration. So it went on like that. So I knew I must bring the books back, read, contemplate, which I did as a young boy. But it went so fast because when you're in Samadhi, time also passed very fast. It fasts very fast. You don't feel bored. It's like you're very high all the time. You know what I mean, high? Which kind of high is it? So, yes, it is but this is a positive one. It doesn't have after effects or what, I don't know, Turkey effect or I don't know what you have here. Anyway, so this is like that. So the time went on like this. So what happened? I used to take the book, in fact, the Samyutta Nikaya, I used to take it to the Himalayas. People think I don't go to Himalayas to look for a yogi or somebody, actually, because I know the teaching. This is some, I would say, some samsara habit I would have had with Himalayas. And but I take the books with me, and sometimes in the caves I used to have it, but few pages, but I go to Samadhi. So never continue reading, contemplating, and so on. But it's very interesting in Sri Lanka jungles, where the ancient, supposed to have been the ancient Arahants have been there. There you find you can easily contemplate. It shows that, you know, people who have lived there, they have sort of, you could say, they have kept some energy of wisdom energy, contemplative energy. So in those places, easily your mind, your nerves, this thing starts to work in that direction of, you know, analyzing, contemplating, and so on. But in those places like Himalayas have, you know, it activates your energy points very fast. So that is related with Samadhi. So anyway, I can't contemplate too long. So it went on. I used to postpone. Maybe I try next time, like that. Even still, I'm trying to get it as I did when I was a young boy. Because anyway, I'm in that direction. So what happened 2 years back, 2023, one of my you should say assistants in India, he told me, you must meet this special yogi is there, you must go and meet him. So I was, anyway, I didn't like to meet here, this one or that one. Those days I have met some people. So then I did meet this particular person. Now in India also, so much materialism is there that people are having skepticism about spirituality, about monks, whether they have any power, because you see today monks or any other way, they're too much externally, you know, directed. They have no time. They are not focused enough to, you know, like go within to get that enough power within them. So it's going more towards like external world. Same thing and they're hearing also things that are not very, you know, very good. So in India also they don't have any belief. So but at the same time there are certain not monks, they're actually like, you know, renunciates, like sadhus, who have come up, who have somehow gone into some forest or some Himalayas and they have come up with some power, not necessarily Nibbana, but I would say it's very commendable, because in these modern times to show something beyond material world and to prove it to the people in a very tangible way. So there was such a person like that, lakhs of people coming. What he does is like he actually calls people by he calls them and let them sit down, and he has a board like thing and he writes something. Just sit down and write, and then ask, what's your problem? And then what they used to tell, you know, like I have this cancer or this problem, that problem. And then he shows the board, he has written all the problems and some solution also. So this way such a person in India could, and he has put this into YouTube. There's like a small village, then all India, and now very big people too, all over, they all coming to get his blessings and support. So anyway, my assistant, like, you know, always tell me also, he called me, he's an Indian person, he tell me also, you do some kind of miracle, Bante. This is his aspiration. I say a lot of miracles are happening, you're not noticing it. That's all. So he's so fond of this kind of thing. Anyway, he has been for a long time my assistant, so I went there. And I will cut short the whole story. Lot of people, lakhs of people, but anyway, he just was drawn to me also, and then he took me to his home, and he did the same thing, you know, that writing thing. And after that, I used to meet him. I have no way, like, you know, through phone or anything, but he used to just come to me and meet me whenever I go. And later he told me the reason we are meeting like this, according to him, previous life we have been brother yogis. And yeah, for me also, I don't know what's the explanation for me, how I could meet him so easily, where even there are some VIPs waiting, you know, in certain place, they're showing their cards and going and everything. And later on, suddenly his assistants coming and calling me. And to see, I thought the VIPs would have gone already. So they're like chambers, you know, it's a very interesting place, like chambers. To see the VIPs are already in the chambers and I'm passing them. They are not still gone to meet him. So I thought maybe hell is also like this. You can't have all these cards and go towards God, because you'll have to have some kind of real thing to go there. Anyway, I happened to meet him like that, and one day he came out in the like 2 o'clock in the morning, and he said, "Not enough, not enough." His English is also he can't, he's like from a village. This thing. So said. Then he also didn't know why he said why not enough, and later he said, will meet in the like his chamber. So when we met, he told, we expect you can do more meditation, and we are expecting you can do more of this meditation, but that's why we said not enough, not that you are not enough, you're done. So like that he encouraged me. I realized I had to do more meditation. So what I did was, I went back and I did more of my normal meditation, and I tried to do that analyzing thing also a little bit. But the usual habitual way of practicing Samadhi, I did more. And I met him again. So it was like he was somewhere there, a lot of crowd, and then he asked me, when did you come? I said, like in Hindi language, Kabaya. I said, I just came in the morning. And then looked at me, and I told him, then I just looked at him and said, how is my meditation? Because it's like I want to get an affirmation from him. And he looked and said, not enough. I will explain. And in the before, that time, like 50%. Still, it was 50%. So we met. And then when we met, he explained to me, your Samadhi is good, strong, and but your know me meditation is not enough. The closest way he could explain was how to lose your ego through, that is through analyzing, contemplating, seeing the real nature of our being. So this I know, when he said like that, immediately it is regarding with the Buddha's, the main teaching of wisdom. So that I'm not reading, that's the part he's telling me. So reading and contemplating. So he said, know me meditation, because know me meditation is the closest word he can use in southern India. There's someone called Ramana Maharishi. He's Ramana Maharishi is the one who said actually the body is not mine. But according to Buddha, consciousness is also not yours. So we'll come to that. Okay, I might explain all that, hopefully. So according to that way of analyzing, the body is not you, to know that. So he knew that, know me meditation. So he told me you have to do this. So then immediately I knew I had to force myself to read these books. So what I did was, I think you all have been seated already 1.5 hours or 2 hours, I don't know. If you feel this thing, get up and you can sit down. Okay, because so what I did was, I went back, I got the books. By force, I left all that Samadhi practice and I went fast, read fast. I knew what to cover actually. There's one called Kanda Vagga, what my teachers told us, those days, and Salayatana Vagga. So this entire section where the suttas that made those days the Buddha's disciples Arhants. The main thing that makes them Arhant is through the no self realization. Okay, no self is not imagined. No self is realized. There's no really self. It's a conditioned phenomenon. So anyway, cause and effect phenomena, that whatever rises. So anyway, this I happened to. What I did was, then I went and forced myself to read the Kanda Vagga. And I went back. 80% the meditation has developed. I was very, very, surprised. And I didn't do it slowly as I did those days, but fast I read it, not too much understanding also. Then I knew there's something in the brain that happens in terms of wholesome states, more powerfully, more strongly with this analyzing, contemplating kind of literature, rather than, how much you stay calm for so many hours. So this is one way I felt. Then I read the next part. I went back again, and the Salayatana Vagga, the section continuously, 120%. So, and he also told me this is the highest meditation. If you do this meditation, he said, we'll have to search for you. He encouraged me so much. I know he will not do. His life is very strongly with another part, blessing and all these things. That part is there in me also. Because I can understand now we would have been brother monks, in the brother yogis in the past lives. But definitely he would have noticed that I have gone on another particular, which I would say, how do you know, about, because he doesn't practice that. This know me meditation, or where the ego is going to be dissolved. And that part is a very specific one with the Buddha's teaching. Okay, not that it's going to be dissolved, your ignorance about it is going to be dissolved. It has always never existed, but we have never been aware of it, that it is not ours. Okay, so that awareness has to be, that's a meditation where you cultivate and develop a faculty to realize this. So that's how made me come and start the programs and everything. It was 2 years back. And there's an interesting thing about that also, because 5 years back I have written something with a meeting of some similar guru or yogi like that, and actually he tells that I would start ashrama and systematically teach these teachings, especially start the ashram. So which could not imagine 5-6 years back, because I was like a wandering monk still. And it's interesting, sometimes I showed this, what I've written, to people who didn't believe in karma, especially young people in Australia. I remember just to show that these people can see the karmic pattern. But someone would say soothsaying or something. Soothsaying, I don't know, predicting the future, something like that. I don't see like that. It is actually patterns of karma, how it arises. Some have some intuition or awareness of it. But that is the divine eye. That's a part of the function of the divine eye. But there's the wisdom eye, which stops the karma. Not see the karma, it stops the karma. Because it makes you see the reality of life and makes you desireless and dispassionate. So passion, desire makes you have karma, makes you have thoughts and words, deeds with intention. Okay, we are going to come to that. So that becomes karma. And that will be a cause of our next types of consciousness we are going to get. So that, we are going to, it's like a cycle that goes on according to Buddha's teaching, and then we have to stop this cycle. That's the main purpose. That starts with how we start to live. So one thing, I don't know, there are not much young people. Okay. Because in Sri Lanka, I'm talking about how to change your daily life, daily routine. First thing is to find another type of happiness. Like I define 2 types of happiness. One is where you enjoy the sense pleasures, okay, and they are immediately experienced, but internally it increases your craving, okay, because you allow a desire, and it doesn't it's like drinking salt water. That's how the senses work. More you drink, it doesn't mean you get disgust or fed up with it. You want more. So it is a universal law according to Buddha, tanha pacchaya dukkam upajjati. Tanha nirodha dukkam no upajjati. That is, craving, more you arouse the craving, suffering will arise. And when the craving is dealt or reduced, your suffering is reduced. It's a universal law. So whatever experiences you are enjoying, where the craving is increasing, you'll find overall you will have suffering. How to see this? You can see people with a lot of things, everything what they wish also they have got. Okay? Whatever aim, who have been looked as, who are very successful, and just look at their face. I know some people put out makeup, but without makeup, I mean. But anyway, just look whether there's actual happiness, actual peace, that at least one could sit down in one place, satisfied, just be sitting only, doing nothing. That's also, you can do that, not as a kind of a forcefully done. Naturally, it can be done if your mind reduces desires, and that's another kind of pressure that is arising in the mind. So this other pressure is just temporary, and then it increases your craving. Then you have a sadness without a reason, or an unsatisfied nature without a reason. There's no reason, but you feel unsatisfied or unfulfilled. That sense is experienced. That's the majority. So there's another one, another feeling, another way, where you'll be disciplining, and slowly, you will be not only just disciplining your senses or what you are experiencing through the senses, and also channeling that energy to, you could say, higher states of awareness, consciousness, a way of looking at the world, where desire is, you're getting more desirelessness, dispassionate, you get dispassion, and in that direction also you get a feeling. And that is, we normally call in the Pali, Niramisa. And more you experience that, you begin to have happiness without a reason. That's very important. Happiness without a reason. It starts from giving, for example. You give something which you like, generosity we call it. Okay? And in generosity also we feel that happiness. So that is like gone in that direction. If you go more and more in that direction, then there are people you can see real joy in them. Okay? So it ends up in wisdom. That joy ends up in when you begin to see the secret of life. That's the joy. Very difficult to get it. There are moments where you intuitively, even about that this body is not me or your consciousness is not me, these are personally experienced through the teaching or anywhere. There also that joy will come, but that is a very tremendous, it's not like, a tremendous means it's a very subtle, and it will burn your inner impurities so much in your consciousness. That is a permanent thing. That's what sainthood or saintliness starts to come, where there's no sense of illusionary sense of self or idea of self for things that are changing. So anyway, these two experiences are there. So we have to choose, we have to channel, we have to begin to, if you want to start this journey, we have to get into that journey of, going within us. So it's a journey within us, the subtle feeling that you get in your heart or mind. It starts from even giving, sharing. That's how you learn to know what type of feeling it is. And then it goes on, and when you have few thoughts from the five senses, then you experience in a higher way. That's we call Samadhi. So one of the things that is like an AC, this thing in your consciousness, you feel a coolness, and it's free from like dullness, so bright and just equanimous. So that's a very high dosage of peace. And beyond that, if you use that, normally Buddha's teaching, that is not the end, what we are supposed to practice for. We are using that to gain permanent wisdom. We will touch that part of the wisdom. Anyway, so in Sri Lanka, and I don't know here, I had to first still notice, I am not just few days here after many years. That time also I didn't notice. So I noticed in Sri Lanka, in even other countries, so what disturbs our inner journey is the external objects mostly. So I see the main things that for our internal journey, the thing that brings about external objects towards us is the phone today. Am I right? I don't know. The phone? Have all of you got this phone? I mean, you had it for your GPS, for your traveling, everything, okay? But this is called a device, right? So it actually enhances the sense world. It enhances the sense world. If you're really serious about going internally and this thing, you'll have to minimize your obstacles towards that. If you want to talk about it, that's a different thing. Then it's very helpful because so many teachings are from different teachings are there, and that's very helpful. But if you want to go into subtler feelings, subtler perceptions of reality and evolution about you, if you want to evolve yourself to a higher being the human being is capable of, then we'll have to slowly protect the instrument or the organ that makes it happen. That's the brain. Especially the frontal cortex. We have two things mainly operating, the reptilian brain and the frontal cortex. So it is well known that, in the more the reptilian brain is active, the frontal cortex is damaged. Okay, and especially with strong emotions, especially like food and sex, these things where the the reptilian brain is so strong that the frontal cortex, that's why we have so much rules strongly to protect from this, so that you will not damage this part where you're going to use it for your higher experiences. So the phone, I would say, I don't know this, I noticed that especially like short videos and all that, I don't TikTok, and it's so addictive. You so much dopamine. So you have more dopamine, this thing. So that's another kind. It's not like drinking wine or beer or some kind of thing. This, if you're all the time with it, then definitely there's some problem. So if you don't change in those directions, especially I know that so one has to know the danger, the damage from that, and then if you're addicted just for your work, then you have to limit your work. But it's very difficult because you'll be postponing this for tomorrow. So this is another thing that, so to break that also, I have noticed one very important exercise is early morning as you get up. Don't think it's a simple thing. What you really want to achieve in your life, you find people who are very successful, they are doing it knowingly or unknowingly. Early morning when they get up, they don't start their work. They just seem to have that empty mind for a short while, maybe 15 minutes, half an hour, and sort of remember the things that are very important that they should achieve. Okay, so that they're telling to your mind about this is going to change. It seems simple because it all starts how the brain is wired, how the mind is wired. So if you can start off in the morning, don't get up, don't open your eyes. I do another practice, I didn't know that, but I find even billionaires and all who have become successful, they have done this. Somehow they have, not knowingly I'm sure, that they used to just don't wake up immediately, and then they would say what is most important, and then that like postponing has stopped in them. So they are productive. They achieve what they have sort of put their mind to. So I'm telling, it's no point becoming a billionaire or anybody, because it's not a good place to tell, right? California, Los Angeles, I don't know, where Hollywood is all there with a lot of different values. But one problem I notice is that, all these people who have achieved like that also, they go to intoxication so much. Have you noticed that? Because either they are on drugs, because they're still going behind the sense stimulation thing and trying to find, and I could see the poverty in wisdom. That is a very big poverty you could find in wisdom, regarding life. What is it like, to know that actually something about, in broader sense about life, and that I think is very much lacking. So which was very rich in Eastern world, because they even had a lot of ways of preparation for death in the Eastern world. Pilgrimages all were done to clear your path, to release the soul very easily to a next life, knowing all this mechanism. All these rituals were made and all that. And even when someone dear and close is lost, don't go to psychiatrists or some kind of who have some kind of counseling. There are so many other means to get peace of mind. In the culture has brought about that. So anyway, in this part, but I'm sure people who have that, my teacher was from Germany actually, so he who inspired me a lot, and he's the one who, who I believe there are beings who have, or in this plane, who have that tremendous evolution, who can awaken that. And with that material freedom a little bit, if they can become satisfied with what they little have, they can go on a long journey. But if they can really know about self-discipline and putting them into a proper environment, I'm sure they can become really, really, strongly go on this path. So let me, if I stop, I will just stop because I have to go in a flow. I know my points are from here and there. So that is very important point. I hope you can understand. Before when you get up, just lie down. If you really postpone, your life is going on like that, try this out. I don't want you all to just spend days and years not achieving what you want, what you put your mind to. So make sure that at least tomorrow, just think, maybe reading the books, maybe reading Edgar Cayce's, getting those books, and having a routine from morning, staying late up in the night, and then these are all, it's not going to make you progress in any field of life. So I hope this can be broken, and so that your even material life as well as your inner journey will become a success as time goes on. That's very important. I hope you can. Procrastination, right? Am I right pronouncing? So that is so to stop this in the morning, very important. And other thing is, who have fallen down, some are like really down, they were somewhere and they just want to become like that to start everything. That's another thing I would like to tell. Like, you have really come down and you're not picking up anything, and you're waiting for like everything to be successful to start something. You will find great people who have achieved something also. They have already had a lot of problems. The simple secret was that they continue with whatever was there. They never stopped their striving. Okay? So these are very, I think, small pointers, because we must not get, we must learn to go in a positive way on this path. So wait a minute, I must... So the other thing I must tell you, I must explain to you about this, I normally explain, is that you have one of my, actually, Soma Hamdru, we had a very inspiring, our very senior brother monk. He gave a lot of inspiration to Sri Lanka mostly. He had no time to go other countries. Made it very practical. He passed away. He didn't stay long also. So he was like a very fiery, very inspirational Bhante. So one day he used to explain to us, one day he told us, I never forget, that when you get some emotion like anger or aversion, certain chemical reaction happens or hormonal reaction happens in your body. So he talked about this adrenaline. Okay. So normally adrenaline has the other way, it creates those emotions in you. So there's like an interrelation between this. Okay. So he told me then, if you have peaceful emotions like positive, or like even chanting or prayer or something like that, something also should happen in your body. Then he named it minus adrenaline. So at that time it came to me another word, actually Ayurvedic word about ojas. I don't know whether you have known this term. Ojas, tejas. Ojas is a very subtle some kind of a substance which is created when you actually opposite to our negative emotions. When they are created when they happen in our mind, then this substance is created, ojas. Normally when you do more meditation, it is created. Meditation is related with more dispassion, wisdom. So when wisdom is created, very interesting, tejas is created. Tejas, these are more subtler than ojas. And normally this substance goes to your brain and opens up areas of the brain which are not opened up yet and get deposited. And that substance, that thing that gets deposited, or the part of the brain that is awakened, it starts to create those thoughts. So the initial creation of the thoughts is difficult, but while it's created after that, it's like starts to have a kind of supporting cycle. So when this happens a lot, especially with devotion, concentration, discipline, when these things are practiced, this will start to work. And more it happens, it changes your body. It changes your body. It makes you more magnetic. It makes you charming. So I tell them, you don't have to, those days I used to tell, you don't have to apply Nivea or, I don't know, I had another this thing. Actually, I saw in a pharmacy, I was sick, so I have been visiting pharmacies a lot last few, this recently before coming also, like a vitamin, something, antigen, one kind of thing, I thought it's some vitamin, I was trying to maybe take it for myself. So with my assistant, I was there in Sri Lanka to see it create shine in your skin. Do you know this name? Collagen, that's right. So I thought whether I use it, then my devotees will get tricked, I thought, how can they do this, this shine of the skin? Because shine of the skin is connected with character also. I tell, because people to get a tangible idea about this. It creates smooth skin, baby skin. So that is actually coming from the blood flow with less of anger, greed, hate. With calmness, it creates another type of this thing. And it creates a shine. So normally when ojas is more created, there's a shine in your cheeks and your forehead. So I tell people, don't lose this shine if you have developed it enough for some time. And tejas, it is a more, that is analyzing, contemplating, it creates a more finer, charming energy, substance inside in you. I know people, critics will tell Swamin once say, Bhante is promoting some cosmetics or something. Okay, so who wants to get some practice is good for them. But remember this, these are true things. So if you do some negative things and have bath and everything, don't think you are going to be like fresh. Yeah, it will trick all the people who are tricking everybody. Majority of us, we don't notice because we also have so much defilements. So we can't notice unless we are really a little bit up. You can notice this person, like Buddha says, who is a good person can recognize a bad person. A good person can recognize a good person. But a bad person cannot recognize a good person. A bad person cannot recognize a bad person. What does it mean by bad and good? It is who has more greed, hate or negative emotions. It's not nice to name anyone as bad because some people, sometimes they are bad and they will become good and things change. So, but definitely when you have these negative emotions, that you can be, if you're really concerned about your good looks, not your jogging only, but make sure you have good these thoughts and maintain a purity of conduct, and this will help you. So these things I must tell you just for your daily this thing. And I noticed with the phone also, I must touch this point also. One time, one girl was brought me, that's grandmother, actually wanted her daughter, not the daughter, the grandchild. For some problem, she was having some problem. She was put into an international school in Sri Lanka, very high, very big school. They were very poor people, but they thought, everything will be good in that school. And she went, like 13, 14, she went to one of the sleepovers. So when she went to the sleepover, she happened to have a bad experience. And after that, for like 2 years, she was, not in proper, not the wrong path. So the parents noticed that, and the grandmother also. And then once they wanted me to meet her, and she came to me. And when she came, the grandmother, I noticed, she asked, "Did you take a bath?" She said, "Yes, Sacha." I was wondering, why did she ask, whether she took a bath? To see when she came and she told me everything about her life, for 2 years how she was addicted to the phone and seeing things which were bad and negative. You have to imagine what it is, okay? I can't tell, it's not proper for me to tell in this thing like this. So she said that for the last 2 years I've been addicted like this, and then for like last 2 weeks I am getting like the smell of, let's say, poo, of feces around me. And though I have bath or anything, just wherever I am going, I can understand. Because you are attracting so many negative, unseen beings which live on this stuff. So you are that full of that negative, you could say, because Buddha says when you discipline, when you practice, when you're virtuous, there's an order of perfume like going from your body. Okay? So when there's something negative, then something else should happen. Negative means if you're too much, if you're drunkard, because for drinking also, you find the bhutas, pretas or evil spirits, they like the smell of it. And sometimes it's not you, it is those beings that are, using your body. But there are some things also in this. I have noticed even spiritual beings who have gone on the spiritual path, who have broken little bit, some small virtue in the previous lives, they have that addictive nature. So actually they are very good beings. They have a small blockage. If that is removed, you'll see, not like other people, they will be really going, they are saints actually. So even this girl who I was talking about, I know her when she was very young. She's a special being, a young girl, small girl. When she was born also I have seen her. And it was one of the only people I have seen, and I know something from intuition, or that she's a very special being who is going to, she has a special destiny. But there are things of karma of everybody we have, which we have to, so we can't label from this that if I didn't know, then people, this is a very bad girl. So such people can have these things. But remember, this is very interesting from the phone, which activate those kind of emotions, then you attract those things. And I think we should be cautious of it, careful, and so that we learn to discipline ourselves. Even through games, people know. You're not small. I don't see small people, small kids here, but I don't know. I thought I should cover it. So now I will come. I think we have the lifestyle. So this is very important to overcome any addiction we have for the phone. So use the phone for proper purpose, maybe for communication, and if you can't control yourself, try to remove the apps or whatever. Be serious about it if you really want to overcome this. And use your time, because time will just pass, your time is just passing. With the phone, I don't know, you're just looking this, that, and it just goes on. I don't know whether you have time for. In Sri Lanka, people have time, but here maybe you're busy with work. That is good, better than using the phone and Another one is the screen of the phone. It's the blue light. It is known that it affects the serotonin in pineal gland or something. Any people, I don't know, which helps you to concentrate, which helps you to focus. That is damaged by the blue light. So when they heard, they are putting a screen because these people want to sell the phones, right? They're telling they're having a screen for the blue light. So, but by the time the damage is known, you're gone somewhere else. So make sure, be careful on these gadgets. Your life is too precious and too short to, just let it go like that. So that use it. You have to live in this world, but make sure you develop yourself and develop your mind and get the best things you can achieve as a human being. That's very important. You must do that. Which part of the world you are born, doesn't matter. You find out which explains, which will give answers to life, and try to know the secret of life from through anything, I would say. This is my general motto, that you must try to do that. So other thing is, okay. So I told about, the danger of these things and the blessings I told also, okay. So the other, now I go to very important point about consciousness, the Buddha's main teaching regarding what we are made up of. So I told you Edgar Casey, because what's his name, Deepak Chopra, he explains about consciousness very well from the Vedic teachings. But the Buddha explains the cause of consciousness, how the consciousness arises, and how it will never rise again also. So to remove the cause, there's no being, no master who explains that. So they are called the 12 links of life. Have you heard anyone? 12 links. This is a very, the link of life, link of existence, I would call it. Not life is not enough word, but this is it gives the full explanation of this, our being, of what is this whole existence. So it's one part is coming, the consciousness. Okay. So what is this consciousness anyway? We know about our being unconscious. All right. We have a body sometimes. We can be clinically unconscious. Okay. So then what we have? We have the flesh body. Okay. How do you know we are conscious? Say someone hit you to the point you became unconscious. And then how do you know when you become conscious? You slowly see something and maybe recognize him also. Okay? Because then immediately, like colors and pictures, okay? So it's like your eyes, then maybe you immediately get some feeling, as a pleasant, unpleasant. Of course, unpleasant if someone has hit you. And you recognize and then react. Maybe you want to then go away or you want to run away. Okay? So that's called reaction. Alright, this all in consciousness is happening. So these are called factors of consciousness. I will make it in slow motion. For example, you have the ear and an object, sound waves. Alright? So this is the material part, aspect of this thing. So the sound waves are there, the ear is there. Alright? So these two are there. There is something called an attention, initial attention that comes. With these three, there is something called the contact comes. Okay? When there's contact, there's a sensation that goes. These are all in the consciousness. Until that initial attention is just material part only. Okay? So you have the ear and the sound waves, for example. This is material part, and there's an initial attention. It's called manasikara in the Pali. The slight attention, then there's something like says happen. That's the consciousness. Immediately in the consciousness, there are factors of consciousness. There are some things like building blocks of what is inside it is sensation. And there's something judging the sensation as pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. That's called perception. And when he says pleasant, there's something that comes reacting with greed. When it's unpleasant, perceived as unpleasant, with hate. And if it's neutral and you're just there like that, is with delusion. This reaction is called sankhara. Okay? This is what karma is. Because there's intention when you react like that. So if you react only in thought, it becomes mind karma, mind sankhara. If you speak with that, then it becomes word karma. And if you physically do something like that, it becomes body karma. Okay? This happens all the time. Alright? It's very interesting if you can go through Edgar Cayce's case studies. Some things you don't express physically and verbally, but you keep it inside you, how it has manifested in this life. It talks about the chastity belt and all that in the Crusaders time. Very interesting. How you have sexual problems in this life based on that internal, sort of, this is something and one thing. Remember, it's so many like that. It nicely gives, it gives nice explanation because Buddha gives I would call the science of our, consciousness and the karma. But this gives us something from our modern time. And actually, gives very clear this thing, how to picture karma. So then even in your office or working place or family life, you will be noticing that the same patterns are coming in your life. Okay, you'll be noticing that. Otherwise, this goes on, you're unenlightened, you're not, you're being petty-minded, narrow-minded, and just, reacting. What is this? You have to raise up your awareness and like that so that you immediately come out of this cycle, then you become less reactive, not in a kind of ignorant way, but with then things around you also start to change, harmonious and peaceful. Because you're creating the world, how you react. Even in this present life, less you get angry, less people will, if you really don't get angry. I told about one aunt, I don't think I should, these old stories, some of them feel bored to death if I repeat these things. Because who have listened to this, but anyway, this I am coming to very important we have to cover. So this is clear how consciousness, there are 4 factors. there is a there is a body, the body part, the ear and the object, then the eyes and the light or form, the nose and the smell, tongue and the taste, like that for the 6 organs. So you have this material part, and you know how for each one it happens like that. Initially there's the reflection, and then there's the connection, there's the sensation, and judging the sensation is perception, and the way you perceive, you react, that's karma. If you react thought, it's mind karma. If you speak word karma, action, it becomes body karma. So this is all the time happening, all right, in us. Unknowingly, we are just, this is what we are doing. So normally, the last moment, have you heard about this? We get a last thought. Have you heard about this? We have got a last thought. We get a last thought. And there's another thing happened last with our body in the moment of death. The last breath. Okay? I'm jumping into very deep waters. Anyway, I told you this time my teaching is all about, if anyone wants to get it, let them get it. It's a good chance, but I don't know how much it will digest. Some things my teacher told deep and to ponder, I am putting it out. Making you familiar to think in those directions, because reading the original teachings, it is actually like a manual of our beings. No point just reading. It explains life, it explains our existence. And you can't, actually, you have to begin to see from your mind, the faculty. Is something like, even those days, how did they find the earth is round? Do you know? Like, I have heard those days, like, they have this not binoculars, this telescope, right? And from the sea, the mast of the ship, when it's slowly coming up, it's like, you can see it slowly appearing more and more. So then they knew it from a gradient is sort of coming up. So they can't see the gradient. But by seeing this, and then the real truth is thought over. Same way, this knowing the truth of the Dhamma, some things you can see from your senses. And the other thing you have to contemplate, connect, analyze, then only you find the truth. Same way, this unseen truth of our life also is like that. So for the same way, this Buddha's teaching is like a coding, it's like you have those things where he explains the sort of the cause and effect, the pointers. So you learn to think of the Dhamma. That's the main thing. Thinking of the teaching, so that's what we are now also doing. So I'm just trying to give you an idea. Consciousness, how can consciousness, Buddha says, is conditioned. Okay? Without a sound wave, if you just have the ear and you have your attention, that consciousness will never arise. Okay? Do you follow me? Or you are following something? You have to follow me if you are going to understand this. If you're tired, I'm sorry. So you have eyes and, for example, objects. So if the ears has some problem with the ear, you have only the sound coming and hitting the ear. Okay? And you're trying to pay attention also. Will there be consciousness? What do you think? Will there be consciousness? No. Okay? So you have the ear, the sound waves come, but your attention is not there initially. Will there be consciousness? No. So there has to be the sound wave, there has to be the ear, and there has to be the reflection. 3 coming together, the conditioned thing. So you are taking it for granted, you are like looking, doing these things. It's a conditioned thing constantly happening. Okay? So what the Buddha does is he breaks the condition. I will tell you, it's a very great, wise thing, because the consciousness is the main thing that rebirth happens. Okay, the body doesn't go to a next life. One time one monk was asked, I think once very senior monk was asked, how to explain rebirth, how to prove it. It's like it's happening in the mind and consciousness. For example, then he asked the other person, can you think of a flower? Then he said, yes, Bhante. And then he said, what is the color of the flower? What flower did you think is a rose or something? Then he said, can you prove that you were thinking of a rose? You can't prove it. It is something, same way, the rebirth is it's a consciousness, a thought. So it gets a body for that thought to continue. Okay? So the thought needs a body always. So I'm coming now here slowly. Just follow me. So karma is the one that, so the consciousness needs the conditions. You must keep this in mind, okay? Without the conditions, consciousness never cannot arise. And another way how to see consciousness is not you. Now in this consciousness only we are now experiencing the hall, the devotees are there, or in your family, this is my brother, this is my sister, all this is in consciousness, okay? So my boss or in the working place or whatever experience is in consciousness. So normally it's very difficult to see. Now the body we can see getting old, dying, disintegrating something, you can see like, yeah, it's the way, not the way I wanted it, so that means not mine. You can analyze that like that. But consciousness is so fast changing that you can't really, you see it like a single stream, and you don't get the feeling or very tangible awareness that this is not me. It looks me. You can feel the body as no me, but to feel or to know the mind as no me is very difficult. Okay. So what happened? There's one way how the Buddha shows the consciousness cannot never arise. It cannot arise without a body. So if it needs a body to arise, and if the body is not you, then the consciousness have to be you, no, not you. Okay. So it is actually through wisdom only you know it's not you. You can't really see, and that is by the meditation you will begin to really realize it. Oh, the consciousness is not me. And the body is not me. Also, this has to be realized through your own experiences. For that only in your walking meditation, when you contemplate and when you create a sort of, you build up a certain, you could say a beauty in you. That means you have developed these virtues and develop your concentration power for some time. The possibility is there that you might perceive these truths in a very clear way. So now, normally we know the last moment we get the last thought. Okay? So normally we know that if you have interacted too much in the sensual world, that is like with your family and your working place, only these two, it is with the five senses mostly. So normally we get angry or we get attached and all that, and we create karma in this plane. Okay? So according to karma only we get the last thought. Okay, to direct us to next how we should go on. So if you were attached to your parents, and just for example, okay, to give an idea, or any other relations and so on too much and interacted too much, most probably you will get the memory of them. Right? You don't want to leave them or whatever. So it depends also on type of good deeds and karma you have done to propel you to what kind of form you will get, but sometimes you might not leave them. You might be in an area of plane, these things happen. So just to give you just an idea, the last moment, what you have been very busy in your normal life for a long period, that is the most possibility. So the last thought comes, and then when the dying time comes, there's a last breath. So normally, what do you think in such a person? Will he be able to look at the last breath, or will he be distracted by that last thought? What do you think? Be distracted, because one thing, he still has desire and he has karma. For example, coming here also, you have some karma to suffer with me now. For 1 hour, 2 hours. Okay, that's why you thought, oh, I must come. Now you think I made a mistake. Okay. So now coming, like that is also karma. We have a karmic interaction, and this karma means there's some cause and effect for you to be here. Alright? And you had a desire to come. These two things. Same way the rebirth process, the moment of there is desire in you still, and there is karma. For karma brings you the object. Karma brought you the, like the function, the program. If there's no karma, they say the program is cancelled today. Okay? So just to get an idea how you must picture the rebirth process, you have that karma still with you to work out, as well as you have the desire nature. Alright? Normally karma is created by desire. So this is in the sensual plane. So what happened when you have like that you're distracted by a thought means what? Does the conscious have conditions or not to arise? What do you think? It has conditions to arise or not? It has conditions, okay? It's very simple, keep it simple, but it is revealing a very deep secret. If you're interested about rebirth and Buddha's main reason of this path, okay? Even thinking like this can make you enlightened, tell you honestly, alright? So this is called Yodiso Mansikara. So what happened? Now I add something. This is my teacher's explanation, but I'm adding something to explain this further. Have you heard about non-returner in the Buddha's teaching? Non-returner is someone who goes to higher Brahma lokas and he's not born here. Why? Because first thing, he's not born here. He has no karma in the sense plane. Okay? His wisdom and his achievement is such that his defilements are not working in the sensual plane. Okay? Five sense world. But he still has desire for meditation, for example, for Samadhi or equanimity, peacefulness. It's a feeling. It is a neutral feeling. We have three feelings: pleasant, unpleasant, and the neutral feeling. So it falls under neutral feeling. So now when he's dying, when he's passing away, he has no desire for the sensual world. He has a last breath. Do you think he can keep attention to the last breath? What do you think? It's not a multiple choice question. Learn to think this. I'm trying. Now is the time we have to. It's not all the time for peace. This will bring permanent peace. What do you think? He has desire still or not? He has desire. He has no desire for sense world, but he has desire for anything else? Peace, yeah, okay, peace. Samadhi, okay? And he has karma also in that. That's why he's called non-returner. Okay, that is somewhere. He don't return here, but he will perfect it in somewhere else. Alright? So, when he's dying, in the last moment, the last breath, you think he will see, or he'll be distracted. Just picture it in your mind. Alright? That's the most important thing. Just picture how you think like it's happening to you. So you have no desire here and you are still attached to meditation. And then what happens? Your mind will definitely get distracted. So that becomes an object for consciousness. Consciousness will arise, right? Not in this world, in a higher world. Alright? So just imagine Arahant, the one who perfect completely. Just think it's happened to you and you have completely no desire whatsoever, even to peace. Okay, even to anything sensual world or to peacefulness of any type of feeling. Will you be able to keep your attention to the last breath? Not attaching also to the breath. Will you be? Just picture yourself like so. If you keep like that, then will there be conditions for consciousness to arise? What do you think? No. My teaching is to warn me. It's deep. Okay? And I'm also warning you, it's deep. Alright? So I'm just putting you into a kind of this thing. One day if you happen to read the original Buddha's teaching, it will become very meaningful. It became meaningful to me. As a young boy, I used to listen, I used to enjoy when he explains this part of it. But in the jungle, when I happened to go through the original, this thing, the conditioned nature, how the khandhas, what we call body, feeling, perception, and consciousness, are like a gum, with our craving. The consciousness is bound with that gum of craving. Okay, so the gum is removed by wisdom, then it can't exist, it can't stand. Then a rebirth in a mother's womb, it can't arise, that can't form. Okay, so some food for thought. I hope you get a chance to read the original text. And just after a long time, after 5 months, I'm giving this. So anyway, I go for questions because I've given too much of things. Let me see whether I care to cover anything else. So I suggest, we have this word of the Buddha. And you know, I have started this retreats. I don't know, so this is one way in a program people get some idea of, and the retreats, I don't know how it's done here. So that is where, which I did for like 2 weeks with my teacher. The same thing I'm giving to others. Actually, he explained to read those special texts only to monks those days. When monks come, he tells, read the Kanda. If you want to attain the sainthood or this way, read this thing. So now I'm giving to lay people, anyone, monks, so that all get a chance to try it out. If they have karma, if they, you know, there's a possibility that they can, you know, we all must attain this. So it's not sort of leaving it to only monks to do it, but it is there for any yogis, anyone interested in meditation. I'm sure they can all achieve this if they, you know, get this thing. So as retreats are going, that's my main this thing. So programs are there like just to clear or give support or give a push towards the retreat one day, and to make your life now in the practice very important. Early morning, very important to start your practice with compassion meditation and anapanasati. You know, these two. If you can stay, whatever, it's like a habit like brushing your teeth. If you can, you know, stay like that, get that peacefulness. And the second one is to be careful where your virtue is broken anywhere. Where you lied, where you did something, where you're breaking the 5 precepts, that you must think how I'm going to avoid today. Okay, and the other one is how to go mindfully and how to control the senses. That is not to see what is unnecessary, not to hear what is unnecessary. Because that will create the monkey mind. We want to reduce our monkey mind, right? So it starts from how we have stimulated from the 5 senses. So I tell normally there's a practice called Indriya Samvara Sila, where you don't look at the details. It is the highest type of, say, virtue or discipline you can discipline on the path, where you don't look at the details. Like when you're crossing the road, you see the vehicles, but you don't see who is inside the vehicle, for example. All right? So that so same way the phone, everything is used in that direction. So that, you know, more then you just learn to do your activity without allowing your mind to have chances to have desires or irritation. So that way you are developing your internal energy. And when you are developing the internal energy, you have that, I told you, happiness without a reason. And then when you're going, walking, driving, just feel the seat. Simple things, improving your ability to be in the present moment. Feeling the steps. Okay? And just not, before the thing comes, don't think of a solution. It's not easy. Some idea you can think, because, but try to get that spontaneous, solution for something. So that you'll use desirelessness to achieve what you desire. Okay? There's such a power in that. So, so when you walk, just pay attention to the little things immediately. Don't allow the mind to go to sort of so much far ahead in the future or the past. Your mind will run to the old habit, but bring it again to the simple noticing. You will see, you will get a sense. Slowly your mind will find health in peacefulness and strengthening of the mind. So when you're driving, just feel the steering wheel, like that, the seat. Basic things. More you play like that, your mind, mind has that plasticity nature. You can train it in so many ways. So when you train this way, you'll learn to be a master of peacefulness in mind. And that will enhance your worldly life also, for sure. Whatever you direct your mind to, then you can achieve that also better. But mostly you will have no stress. No, you will live actually. You will not live like a dead person. Okay, any questions? If I remember something.
It's very inspiring and motivating.
I'm sorry, it's like my talks, it's like here, jumble, but anyway, some clear direction I hope you all get.
There was a very good point there. I caught. You mentioned no-me meditation.
Yeah.
What is it? Is there a Pali word for it?
No, it is anatta.
Oh, anatta.
Anatta means it's no me told by those Hindu yogis,
I see.
because they have the closest word. Their English is also not very good. Okay, so the closest this thing was know me, which is told by actually so many they just coined this word like know me, no self. Yes, all got enlightened very fast. But
Not yet, okay, but I want to ask, when you in the morning, what you prescribe, how do you decide on the mix of samatha meditation and then getting on to vidarsana, what they call the samatha purvangama vidarsana, or they have the other way around, the vidarsana purvangama samatha, or the yugananda?
what is your way? You're always talking about other people's one. I know what you mean. I do it.
I prefer to do I always tend to drift towards the vidarsana. Vidarsana purvangama.
I can tell you my personal this thing. It is same to your one. It has actually I also I don't open my eyes as soon as I get up. I would have first vidarshana with looking at the rupa skandha with anatta lakkana sutra. According to that, look it like from outside my body until I get a release. Like I don't do it just like reciting or chanting something or naming something. No, I would wait until I get visualization of it. So I release my body. So it's going to samadhi actually through vipassana. And after that I turn it to metta like that, more samadhi like that I do. And then when I fully done only I open my eyes and start my other things. So that's one way you can do. Yes.
I have a follow-up question. Sorry. Say if you do that in the morning, but if the rest of your life is all full of sensual input and dealing with sensual stuff, how do you now, from time to time, you might get 1 or 2 minutes or 3 minutes in your life, and if you can elaborate a little bit on the technique of doing it in day-to-day life.
Yes, you should.
Just after you get up.
Yeah, you should. I would enhance this now. This is just a beginning. Then I have other small practices. It goes on, like I have all internal practices. As a yogi, I have some other practices which I can't tell, and so you continue those things. But they're all then connect. And then I would sometimes some things can get neglected. Now I was very busy before coming here also, for example. So I have an afternoon session also very specific. For many years it's been habit. So it gives me physical energy and I have to always keep meditating in this life. So everything else, it might go to a minimum something, but never lose it, Maybe one day very rarely. And then, but keeping it, like brushing your teeth or something, So you become you become habituated. You suffer, you feel suffering if you don't do it. And then you try to improve that and increase that and really come out of this whole thing of, the sense world. So this is something slowly, you will be, as a human being, I think, so that you're doing minimum duties, what you have to do, but making sure you protect your main duty to be peaceful and joyful. So that's I think that's what I'm trying to do all the time. Yeah. You got answers, or I don't know.
Since you're from Sri Lanka, Pali, the Nomi meditation, maybe that means the Panchapadanaskandha Anityatave?
Nomi meditation, I think what he meant was he would have seen that I have done this path connected with anatta. Anatta means no self. Okay, so no self is a result of seeing the impermanence. That what you take as self, if it is permanent something, then you can take it as self. But if you find that nothing has ever arisen, has stayed, it has to pass away. With that, the idea of a self cannot come. So whoever gets the idea of a self is somehow having the delusion that it doesn't change. Okay? So that delusion that it does not change is there because it is not seen perfectly to the ultimate truth. So even it's a dhyana, for example, it's a feeling again, and then you take that as not changing. You will take all other things below that as changing. So then still like that, but you see dhyana also is a conditioned thing. So Buddha's impermanence is a universal impermanence, and if that is that's what you realize, then you don't see anywhere a self as such. It's so that is the highest. But what I see is that this person who told me, I think it is very popular. I told you in South India about the know me, but it's regarding the body, because they are very in the Hindu tradition. It's very less of that analytical contemplation. It's more of an atma, something that is there, not changing. So this is where he want to convey the message. That's why he told me, I guess.
Can you please explain how the third eye affects your pituitary gland and in turn affects our body?
Sorry, can you repeat?
How the third eye affects the pituitary gland to react and how that affects the body. Can you explain?
The third eye. Do you mean we have the third eye means normally we have the frontal cortex, okay? In this we have the subtle, we have the divine eye, things like that, and also wisdom eye. So they are all like, pituitary gland means the brain, the behind. I would say that, like for example, so sometimes, like certain things that comes out of a result of awakening the third eye, if you get exposed to that, it will stimulate that, okay, and it will and definitely it has a positive side to your body. So there are certain things like who have awakened that, their sound, their form comes in contact to you also, then it can activate in you the same this thing, and then it can definitely have because all this here, the energy, or the things that happen here. But if it is unnaturally awakened, also is not good. It has to go with a certain level of dispassion. The good energy field is awakened with more desirelessness and dispassion. So it should be a natural process also. So, but doesn't matter if you are exposed to positive. That's why sometimes when those things are activated, you have negative feelings also coming from the other side suddenly. So it has to go in a way how the level where you can handle it.
You stop those negative feelings.
Yes, it will definitely. You have to awaken this so that it automatically, these things won't arise slowly.
So then your spirituality goes up, right?
Definitely. I'm confused with my answer, but okay. Anyone else? I hope I think I covered some of the. I would suggest you to get if you regarding rebirth and all that, Edgar Cayce many mentions, and also I would suggest Buddha's Word of the Buddha, Pajaniti Loka Mahatera, get them, okay, so that you will have those visions. We have one of the books, no? Word of the Buddha, do you have a copy? So this program is mainly connected with, for me to tell you about the importance of the Buddha's, that word of the Buddha's words, original words, okay? So in the retreat you will get it, but in the program also, I hope you can get it in your private invest in Sinhalese if you want to get it, get those books, keep it by your bedside, okay, and then start reading. Don't waste this opportunity. I told you, add to your meditation of compassion, Metta Bhavana and Anapanasati reading session of few pages. It will elevate quickly clear your karma more faster. Even if one word becomes clear in you, it will fasten your evolution. All right. Remember what I experienced with my just reading. Don't think sometimes you might not understand. Yes.
I have a question. So anatma and the translation of that Indian know me, I thought that it can give a wrong impression because the anatma is that like a body is not me, but it doesn't mean that there's no there is me, there is or there is not. So only that body is not me, or consciousness is not me. Kind of like you are dropping, that's the way I understood.
Yes, a
Like
negative.
dropping piece by piece. But doesn't say that there is or not, because if you go into that, you get stuck with who is getting you and all that.
Yes, yes.
So I was thinking that.
Yes, yes. No, I mean, I am very grateful to him even telling those two words, because he doesn't know English at all. So but he gave me the message that I must read the teachings again more, which gave me the point, because I think but definitely he pinpointed me the analyzing meditation or contemplating meditation. That's the point. But definitely it comes out as not as a rational thing, the anatta realization. It comes as a kind of a meditative, contemplative analysis of cause and effect, conditioned nature of. Then it becomes obvious that the idea of it's an idea. The self is an idea. It's not real. I think it's actually the Monisha. She's the one who's arranging here. No, I don't.
Thank you for asking that question. It's going to be having at Mount Holy meditation center. It's going to be starting on the 5th to the 10th. It's going to be 5-day residential retreat. We have about 6 or 7 people can join, because we have about, I think, 15, right? Registered? I'm sorry, 6 or 7 spots available. 5th of July to 10th of July. A 5-day retreat. And it's a very good retreat if you can join. I can give my number, so I can provide you with information.
So I tell, before you die, just do one retreat. So I once had been this weight from young age. I knew about this, but the time only comes now. In case something, get the books. Okay, keep it beside your bedside. The original words of the Buddha. Buddha is a name, but what he spoke is still recorded. It has a magical nature. That's why I call these books it's a magical book. People knew about it a little bit in Sri Lanka by chanting in Pali language. Sometimes cancers were cured and this and that. That is karma, no? Cancer also is a karma. But more rooted karma will be removed and cleared if you even understand a little word, one word. This ancient, Pali, the way it is, this thing presented. So if your brain gets little familiar, even it's so much fast, clears your things. So that's the encouragement I want to give you all. With my own personal experience with those persons who have, insight into the working of the mind internally, in terms of your wholesome states of consciousness, how they saw that it's the most efficient or fast way of increasing your, the kusal or wholesome potential. So I hope not our teaching, our each individual monk speaking, what they understood, even my own experiences. Go to the master himself. So if it's in English, Bhikkhu Bodhi's, Hamdro, his books are there. So there are Bhikkhu Bodhi, his Bhante's translation is really good. But smaller books like, Word of the Buddha by Jnanatiloka, handy book, where you have, I will try to do, I hope I have I don't have an English book. Buddha Vachane, Word of the Buddha. Come on. Come on. Because this is my main thing for you to go to read that, to see the importance of that. I'm not just coming and encouraging about this. For your life, to fasten this thing. And I hope those points will come where rebirth. I've given you already how to look at the Dhamma. So like an engine you see immediately, but at least what you have explained, you will know, Bhante is talking about consciousness, how it's related to rebirth. At least this recording, you try to repeat it, at home, then it will come to your mind more, okay? Because I went very fast. So I want you to think towards enlightenment. So even you all coming here, I think you all have potential for that. Otherwise, because this is not teaching or Dhamma, is about directly about enlightenment. If very fact you think in that direction, how the conditioned nature of consciousness and the removed, that will make you awaken even. But in the meanwhile, if you also change your lifestyle, because now the same thinking, if you think after 7 days, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, things will change. Your insight will differ. So whoever, if they are not reading these books again, that means nothing happened to them. They are looking for other teachings. They have not got the experience from this. Okay? So these words, there's an experience. I'm not there to give you a lot of knowledge. I'm trying you to guide you to experience the Buddha. Because this is, it's good for others. People will tell, what is this Dhamma? Buddha, Bhante's teaching is like, 8th grade maybe. Someone has told this also. When they saw the book. Because they want very complicated explanations of the, I see where they are getting complicated, they have not realized, nobody. No. Because there's a big difference between knowing and realizing. So this must happen. Buddha also valued, he told, who sees the Dhamma mentally. That time, Buddha's time, even the Devas were telling sadhu. For it's a different thing by, like just accumulating so much, it's also good, but important to realize this. So that you become a saintly person and you will become you overcome these defilements in actual reality.
My last question. I know you have done a lot of practice. You practice the Dhamma, and since you are a monk, you have learned the Dhamma. But for lay people like us, I can read and I can learn, because Buddha's Dhamma is like the ocean. I can read until my last breath. But how much we should balance, how much Dhamma that we need to learn versus how much we really have to practice in order to become a soul.
Yes. I told you, like, just the word of the Buddha. It's a very handy book. So you have the main, like, how to look at in terms of the 5 elements and so on. And like that you can watch yourself and start the journey in your, as a meditation object. So that is there. And then you can add some books, like, for example, like Majjhima Nikaya, the entire one. So take one sutta, for example, you have like one Mahastipadopana Sutta, very analytical, but it's very practical. And so like that, 1 month you can complete reading. Okay. So meanwhile, you start the meditation of compassion, or I told you Anapanasati early morning. And then you see how you, when you're going to the toilet or walking, try to practice the mindfulness. And then anywhere you have been addicted and losing your energy, you learn to note it. You have to learn to find faults in you. And then like that you learn to start the journey. And then you'll experience a certain time, the peacefulness and wholesomeness of your thing. Sometimes you might fail and you start again, but soon you experience like that, you will not stop. And then if it's possible to get into a retreat, because that or your self-retreat even, in case you can't, this thing, with the books you go, something can happen.
Can you tell us why you go to, is it Rishikesh that you
No, Kailashan.
Is there a lot of positive energy? Is that why you like to go there?
I think my previous karma, some previous strong karma. Because I don't recommend anyone. because I am recommending the main thing I'm giving you all, go read the books. You have beyond Kailash, beyond everything in that sutra, the words in your bedside. Okay, if you get a vision. This also I tell. This is only just to give some, if someone try to be funny with me, I will do something. I'm joking. But that is my karma, I would say. Previous lives, yeah. Definitely, because I know better than those people, those areas. But I don't look at them. But it's also funny, those places have energy and different things, like Samadhi aspect. So if you just look at the mountains, it's mountains. If you meditate, you get something. Same with the suttas. If you meditate with the suttas, you get vision from the suttas. This I guarantee. This I'm trying to tell you all. This is no joke. This has inspired me from young age. Buddha is alive in those words. Don't miss this opportunity. Don't be in a hurry to learn it in words. Be with him. You will definitely get something. This
Last question, Bhante.
yes. The last.
Now that you spoke about being in Mount Kailash and experiencing the so-called near-death experience,
Yeah, oxygen.
can you describe a little bit more in terms of the separation of the body and mind, that most people who experience near-death experiences say that I was out of my body and I was seeing the whole body.
I was not that dead. Tell you honestly. Okay, I didn't allow myself to die so much. Yeah, it's true. So only I was going to be evacuated by the helicopter, but meanwhile I was, the helicopter also we missed, so then suddenly try to descend quickly. But then time to time I was, breathless and like high pressure. I could feel I'm getting to a stroke. This kind of thing.
I don't know if this is disrespectful. I'm just wondering whether you have attained any stages. So
Very good. This is a Sri Lankan question or an Asian question. My teachers told, even if we attain something, don't tell it to ourselves. Even just continue the practice. That's here. So I'm also in that kind of this thing, because we don't know. I can't prove it to you. I might tell you, ask someone else also. Has Bhante attained that? It's an unanswerable question actually. But anyway, your honest, sincere way to ask is okay. Yeah, I have some very comedy type of things happen in this questioning thing. Because in Sri Lanka, some will not let you, if you have been in jungle, this and that, they expect some kind of special thing has to happen to you. Yes, sure, I think so. What have you been doing all this time? So once, he was persistent. I don't see them at all now for many years. Maybe he attained something. So what happened, he asked me, Bhante, have you attained, what he said was, yeah. Someone say you attain arahantship or something. I said, no, what did you say? I don't know. I wish I could, but I don't think I have attained that at all. He said, no, they're telling, then I have to really force him and tell, do you think I lie about that? Then he said, then maybe you have attained anagami, the second one. So it goes on like that, so I don't go into this. Anyway, maybe I have put some shine, some... But at least you must know when you're going the good path, you'll become more magnetic, more beautiful, at least to encourage yourself to practice. And that's very important. I hope for that you'll get some encouragement and don't delay in that. And don't worry, if you're really attained something, you will know, but we might also misunderstand some insights and all that. So it's not healthy better to be in the direction of practicing and just enjoy. Even if you have some experience of clarity, you take it as it was clear, but you will not name whether I attain this or that, or try to ask somebody. Even if someone tells you, I don't believe that person, because they're not directing you in the right way, as far as I know. Yes?
Earlier we talked about consciousness and the mind related to the brain and things like that. But in Abhidhamma, we also learn that consciousness comes from the heart. So how can you explain more what does the brain does as far as the consciousness?
Yes. I am explaining consciousness in terms of how the Buddha originally spoke with his original discourses. So just I told you the main thing was the conditioned nature of consciousness. In the Abhidharma, it explains a little more detailed, different way. So I think it's important to keep it simple, so that the wisdom can come up in. If you think too much, that intuitive, this thing might be blocked. So I tell normally you have to first make your mind to not to think, and then the thinking must happen. So just the enough thinking, that's why you learn to now, okay, for example, we have this book, we'll quickly do a little bit, okay? Just to think, but was it clear that consciousness needs a condition? It has ear and object, and there's a little reflection, and then immediate with the contact, there's initial consciousness. Is that clear?
Which part process clarified?
Sorry?
Which part of our consciousness process clarified?
Brain, which part of the brain you mean?
Yeah.
Or the body?
In Abhidhamma, consciousness.
Understand. Yeah, understand.
From the eyes and
Yes,
ears
yes.
and the tongue and those kind of things. But there's no mention of consciousness process by brain. So how, but in modern day, a lot of doctors and those kind of
Yes,
science,
yes.
don't
They don't pinpoint because they don't also still recognize consciousness. That's another problem.
So how, as far as what you know, what does our brain does with consciousness?
Brain is still another faculty. You must take it that way. And consciousness can, like if it's arising tongue and object here, so they are conditionally arising. So it's not a particular place where it arises or it has a source. So brain has it's also part of one organ, but not necessarily it's a brain. You find sometimes a lizard, you cut up, their tail and so on. It's still live. So it's using that body. His brain is somewhere else, his body is somewhere else. So consciousness is not like something where we can locate in a physical area. It is using the body to arise, that's all. That much you must know. You understand? Who are researching, we must not muddle our mind with those people who are still searching. They are still confused what is consciousness also. So that will be different explanations, different time. So, but definitely consciousness arises conditioned by part of our body. That's much you must keep it that way. Is it clear like that? This is the book I'm telling you all. You must try to get it, okay? If it's in English, it's easy. English translations are very clear. Do this, okay, if you really want to do something in your life. And Word of the Buddha, and then there's also Bhikkhu Bodhis, there are a lot of translations. Try to get them, whatever you like. That's your journey starts. That's your meditation starts with the map. So when you do that, if you are familiar in Sinhalese language, Sri Lankan language, there are Nadi Mahali translations, that is done in soft cover. But if you can think and read in English, it's very easy. All right? And because the translations are very clear, but make sure you do the meditation, read. Do these two together, everything will happen. All right? Mukadda? Yes. Better means it's a very clear translation, and Sinhalese, if you are familiar in that, then Nadi Mahali translation. So I think it's like bringing the Buddha's teaching alive and into practice. So this is something, it's new because we are all following each different monks, their teachings. You see, and actually I'm very glad because I would say our Vajrarama, or they were known as Suttanta with the suttas. So even our main teachers like somehow they also came into that fold. I'm not a scholar or anybody, but now what I'm trying to encourage, I hope with my German teacher, how they did it. He was not in public. It is to realize it. Okay, So you have you learn to isolate, you learn to use the certain instruction and learn to contemplate those things, then definitely something should happen. You see Buddha. Because his words, you will begin to see the truths about the world through those instructions. That should happen, not our bana. Our teaching should not echo in your mind. So in the retreat where I'm trying to, it's done very well, properly, but at least on your own, have it on your bedside. Don't leave it. If you read one, think I have read it, I know this. No. You are leaving means you have not realized. The entire thing you will see, if you, with your matured faculty, that it is gone, you're gone. You will know. Until then, it will be still, you're trying in words, you're trying to find out, it will be an endless journey. Okay? So just one, I have already told in page, we don't have to refer anyway. I just tell now though once I be dependent origination of consciousness. Okay, Buddha is explaining all these things here. Now though once I be intact, yet the external forms do not fall within the field of vision, and no corresponding conjunction of I and forms takes place. In that case, there occurs no formation of corresponding aspect of consciousness. Although once I be intact and the external forms fall within the field of vision, yet if no corresponding conjunction takes place, in that case too there occurs no formation of corresponding aspect of consciousness. If however once I is intact and the external forms fall within the field of vision and the corresponding conjunction takes place, in that case there arises the corresponding aspect of consciousness. Hence I say the rising of consciousness dependent upon conditions, and without these conditions no consciousness arises. And upon whatever conditions the rising of consciousness is dependent, after these it is called. That means if it depends on the ear and the sound, is called ear consciousness. If it's depending on the nose and smell, is called nose consciousness. Okay? If in the lizard, I would say if it is the tail and is getting consciousness, I would call it tail consciousness. Okay, for you to get more understanding. All right. But I like to pinpoint some important things in this book gives a very, wait. Okay. The Buddha, this is in the fifth page. It is through not understanding, not realizing four things, that the Buddha is telling, right? That I, disciples, as well as you, had to wander so long through this round of rebirths. And what are these four things? They are the noble truth of suffering, the noble truth of the origin of suffering, the noble truth of the extinction of suffering, the noble truth of the path that leads to the extinction of suffering. As long as the absolutely true knowledge and insight as regard these four noble truths was not quite clear in me, so long was I not sure that I had won that supreme enlightenment which is unsurpassed in all the world, with its heavenly beings, evil spirits, and gods, among all the hosts of ascetics and priests, heavenly beings and men. But as soon as the absolute true knowledge and insight as regards to these four noble truths had become perfectly clear in me, there arose in me the assurance that I had won that supreme unsurpassed enlightenment. And I discovered that profound truth, so difficult to perceive, difficult to understand, tranquilizing and sublime, which is not to be gained by mere reason and is visible only to the wise. The word, however, is given to pleasure. Now, this is very important. Delighted with pleasure, enchanted with pleasure, truly such beings will hardly understand the law of conditionality. Now, the reason why to control cell phones and all this, why? Because with pleasure, as I told you, one way to understand is your reptilian brain works. All right? And such beings will hardly understand the law of conditionality. So when you have disciplined those things, when you overcome the five senses, your wisdom brain starts to work. And then only this understanding is a realizational understanding can happen. Law of conditionality, the dependent origination of everything, incomprehensible to them, will also be the end of all formations, the forsaking of every substratum of rebirth, the fading away of craving, detachment, extinction, nibbana. Yet there are beings whose eyes are only a little covered with dust. They will understand the truth. So this is just Buddha after he became enlightened. This small idea it is, you have to go to get this experience, you have to change your life also. Okay? So while you're changing towards that, you will get other benefits of peacefulness, happiness, just being happy with life. And the main result will be you will experience this truth. Okay? So, page number 10, last one. Okay? This is my last one. All right? So, it is, Buddha breaks, he doesn't look at the world in terms of the atoms. All right, that time. So, he explains in terms of nature. This is a meditation actually. 4 nature: hard nature, liquid nature, and fiery nature, like that, nature-wise. Okay, he has a purpose in his wisdom so that you will see the truth and you will lose your impurities, which makes you suffer. All right, that is especially mainly the idea of self or ego. All right, so now he breaks down into body, into hard nature. We have hardness more in our body, but in our bones, in our teeth. Okay, and like that we have hard nature more in that. So now he says, what now is the solid element? Okay, the solid element may be one's own, or it may, now this way of thinking is very important. The ancient times, to bring this wisdom so that you will have no ego, no desires, and that way to see the final truths also. The solid element may be one's own. When you read these books, you must relax. You must watch yourself from outside. That's how you read these books, because you begin to activate your wisdom mind. Okay, and with the idea of letting go, you have to read. If you are a very greedy person, this doesn't, they don't go together. If you're trying to control, discipline yourself and becoming more, you could say, desireless, this is good. Because you're with the relaxed body, relaxed mind, you have to start reading. Then you learn to apply it to yourself, to visualize it. Then only the wisdom part works, and then you let go more. So when you're reading, you don't feel tired. If you do like that, you will feel more rejuvenated, more peaceful. And in corresponding to that, some other things will be formed in your body. Okay? If you had sufferings because of your attachments, now because of your detachment, the sufferings will disappear. So I tell people who have a lot of problems also, this will be a final solution. But if they can't, then like these programs, and also I tell other things they can do. And then read this also meanwhile. Then all this medicine put together, like Panadol, then antibiotics, everything, your sickness will go away. Okay. So now, what now is the solid element? The solid element may be one's own, or it may be external. Now, relaxingly, you must learn to visualize this. And what is one's own solid element? Whatever in one's own person or body, there exists of karmically acquired hardness. Now look how the Buddha explains that hard nature, your bone or whatever, is not just coming from the sky. It is karmically coming. Or sometimes you have cancers and all that. You have done a lot of medicine, this and that. Still the problem is there. That is karma. Okay? So if for karma, now even to get a normal body, a healthy body also is past karma. So it's a manifestation of karma. We know now in rebirth process, if you don't have karma, if you have no craving, then no last thought, no body will come. Okay? So that we already know. So we have to visualize this person or body, there exists of karmically acquired hardness, firmness, such as the hairs of the head, hairs of body, nails, teeth. When you're reading, you have to visualize, okay, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, whitish color, marrow. If you're properly doing, you will notice your breathing also. That means you must be relaxed in reading and contemplating. Do it very fast with you all, but you all must experience this. Okay. Because there's a meditation object. Hairs of body, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, stomach, bowels, mesentery, excrement, and so on. This is called one's own solid element. Now is the wisdom part. Now whether it be one's own solid element or whether it be the external solid element, they are both merely the solid element. That means the hard nature within you or the hard nature of this table or the mic or the floor. Is there any difference nature-wise? That is to be seen and let go. Okay? And when you see like that, now whether it be one's own then, or whether it be the external solid element, they are both merely the solid element. And one should understand according to reality and true wisdom, this does not belong to me. This am I not. This is not myself. Just think of it, the ear. Does it get angry? Or the tongue? Does the tongue taste? The consciousness, right? The tongue is just neutral. Try to separate mentally, then you are quite mindful of what is going on. So you have to learn to, if you're going to see reality, what now is the fluid element? You have now blood and all that. The water in the tap and the blood in your body, you have to learn to see it separately. They're same. This way, if you take part by part, you disappear. So this way you become light. Alright. So in the end, Buddha says, just as one calls a hut the circumscribed space that comes to be by means of wood and rushes, reeds and clay, even so we call body the circumscribed space that comes to be by means of bones and sinews, flesh and skin. Okay, I'm just going to stop here because I hope you all can do this, and I wish you good luck in that, so that, and you can apply these things. If other stories, I cannot tell you a lot of, no time for that. I told you I had a angry auntie or even a boss maybe in office or working place. I know there are husbands, wives, especially wives with husbands, when they have shouted at them, they have seen this like just elements, and then that is a perception is based on the body, so body perception is also illusionary, like that, and they are not reacted. It should happen to you all, okay? So it should become practical if someone is scolding you or praising you also. And that way you will find a way out of having mental peace and mental awareness. So you will calm yourself and calm others also around you. Okay? So all blessings, I think we will wind up now. Today I'll be doing just now when I'm leaving. Try not to talk, at least tonight. Keep this energy with you, and it will help you on your path. Tomorrow morning, you can talk, eat something for dinner, whatever, but try to remain silent as much as possible. Some energy to help you, okay, all night. So just tonight, all right? So I wish you all the merits you have acquired by listening to these teachings, especially to our senior venerable sirs, and to get them, may they get strength to do all this work and keep the Dhamma going for you all, a great service, and all our senior masters, teachers, who have protected this and given this to us, and your parents, relations, and all beings have been our relations in this long samsara, according to Buddha. From the lowest to the highest, may they get a transfer of all this good karma, who are protecting these noble teachings in all directions, into powerfully for the well-being of others out of compassion. Supatetva, dukim videtva, nivan suelabatva, sansara perapim matvetva, kavatasya patnavi, සතුටින් සතුට. ධර්ම ශාන්තියක් කරා ගමන් කරන්න. පෙරපින් මතුවෙත්වා. කවදාකවත් දුකටපත් නොවෙන උතුම් ධර්මයේ ප්‍රත්‍යක්ෂ කරන ගමනක්. සතර අපායට නොවැටි without falling into the four states of suffering. No fear of death. No fear of samsara. May this noble Dhamma give you all support and protection. One minute. Wait. Relax your body, okay? Relax your body. Just relax your body, all right? Chattamano. Chattamano. Sansara perpina matu. You all get all the strength and to go on this path without any obstacle. From all negativity, all the negative forces, we all get 32 marks of the noble being, his mighty blessings, mighty compassion. Not only who are here, all in this country, all other countries too, all human beings. Sakara Vishwatama Sakti Therapy Madhya. Sansara Therapy Madhya. Narvada Kanasi Mara Padani. Five minutes, keep your eyes closed. Okay? 5 minutes.